Really great question there. Let me bring in my attorney guest and see what he would like to add to your great question, Jess. I have with me on the show criminal defense attorney John Mobley, standing by in Colombia, South Carolina. John, that was a good one, wasn't it? That question about the privilege, huh?
Yes, and you hit it right on the head. The privilege survives a relationship. That is a fundamental tenet of the attorney-client relationship. I tell all my clients, it doesn't really matter what you did. You can tell me, you assassinated the president. I couldn't tell anybody. And if I told anybody, it wouldn't be admissible in court. So it is the most fundamental tenet of the attorney-client relationship, the concept of privilege. The only time it can be waived is if the client wants to waive the privilege. So
yes. I'm so glad you said that. That was going to be the next thing I would ask you. So let's just say, for example, you have a client who had a meeting with you and then divulged something to you within that meeting. You will not be able to say it to anyone, as you just pointed out, but let's say the client decides, oh gosh, I really want to tell my mother what I told my attorney. The client is the privilege holder, so they can choose to have that conversation.
That is correct. And the thing is, what I tell all my clients is what you tell your friend or your wife or your mother is not necessarily protected by the privilege. So, and just so we're clear on that, if the client meets with his attorney and has a third party in the room during those meetings, you waive the privilege. So it's very important to understand the nature and the scope and the limitations of the privilege, because it can be waived not only voluntarily, but involuntarily.
Right. And for instance, let's just say that, taking the example I was using first, the client telling, his mother. Let's just say mom comes up to you, separate and apart from your client, and wants to start asking you about the conversations you had. Can you say anything then?
Well, technically you cannot. And, and the funny thing is, when you have situations where you have parents or spouses, it does cause conflict, because what can often happen is the spouse or the child doesn't want to say things to the attorney that they don't necessarily want the mother or the spouse or the person paying the attorney to know, and that can actually compromise the communications. And I make it a point to tell every client and every paying party, hey, it doesn't matter who's writing the check, this person's the client. And there may be things they need to tell me in order for me to effectively represent them. And I can't have, them not tell me because they're worried about what you're thinking about or what you're going to think. So I'm going to need you to leave the room so I can talk to my client.
Exactly, John. This is also helpful. It's like we're doing a little law school session here for all the viewers. Appreciate you. We have another question. Let's see if we can put this one up on the screen.